going to bring more tropical insects and diseases. It's going to rise sea level, which is going to destroy parts of our coastline. It's going to drive people out of other countries, so they can become migrants. People at the border now, refugees, they'll be a tiny fraction of what's going to happen. And all that's going to happen, if we don't make the change, that's going to happen in your life. I won't be around, but you will. 2070, 2080, and long before that. So we're at a turning point. You either can handle it or don't. So that's a challenge. Fresno is so far ahead of the curve in many ways. You've got the high-speed rail facility right here. Now we're building it. We're only building it to Bakersfield, Merced. In China, since the time Arnold Schwarzenegger signed the bill to start the high-speed rail, China has built 10,000 miles of high-speed rail. And we got people in America, in this state, oh my God, how do you build a high-speed rail? It's easy. Just spend the money, get the engineers, and get going. And when you run that train, it's going to run on renewable energy. A lot of solar energy is going to power that thing. So it's totally clean. It's fast. And you know, it's really good for old people like me. We shouldn't be allowed behind the wheel because we get distracted. You know, we're always thinking about things in the past. So we got to be on a train. And we got to be on a train that A, shows up on time, which the current ones don't do very often, and secondly, runs not off diesel, but runs off the sun or the wind and renewable energy. So that's why we're here. It's really important. And I want to tell you, I don't want to scare you, but we're in big trouble, and if we don't do something, things will get a lot worse. And so you can make the difference. If you can make a robot, you can make a better world. I'm very impressed with that. Now, those robots missed a couple of little bricks there, but you're getting better, right? So just keep on keeping, and hey, Clovis is a lot bigger than I thought it was. In 1974, Clovis was nothing. Now, wow, you got robots, you got solar energy, you got a special kind of building here. You got not one governor yet. Well, you don't have governors, you have ex-governors. That's only worth half as much as getting the real one. But we were real once, so we're a good stand-in. Thank you very much.
Governor Schwarzenegger, when you first ran for office, it was big news. And when you posted your environmental priorities on your websites, that created a big stir in the environmental community. And many of us went to Terry Tamminen and we said, is this real? Is this Republican who's going to become the next governor really going to do all these environmental things that he's talking about? And Terry said, yes, and think big. The election happened. We went back in to meet with Terry, and we said, okay, we've got some ideas here. These will be real things that'll help to move the, move the needle on the environment. We'll get some victories. And Terry, you almost laughed us out of the office because you said, these are small things. These are not the kind of things that this governor is going to do. So we had to come back again. And we had to come back with an idea when Terry said to us, what would they put on a marquee on a movie theater that would attract your attention? And I went back and we figured out the math with Senator Murray, and we did it, and we said, this will actually do 1 million solar roofs. And we thought, that's it. That's what we're going to bring. And it was during that time that we brought that idea down to your office, but you took it immediately. And even with all the challenges that this faced, as I said before, 3 years we had to fight for this bill. There's untold number of special interest groups that kept coming in and trying to say, oh, a Republican governor, he'll never do this. They'll never pass this bill. Oh, we might get it through the Senate. Senator Murray did that. You'll never get it through the second house. You'll never pass the Assembly. We did that. Everyone thought, no, he's never going to sign this bill. This is too big. This is too much of an environmental victory. But you did, and you set the stage not only for solar in the state of California, but you really set the stage and change the perspective of what environmental means when it comes to politics. We now had an opportunity to win all over the state of California and to bring real victories that were going to make a difference in people's lives and stave us off from the worst impacts of climate change. When we first passed it, I didn't know how big 1 million was. And we kept thinking, that's a lot, we'll never reach that goal. But we reached it today, and a lot of people get the credit, but it was your determination and your force of will that got this bill through the legislative process onto your desk, and you're the one who signed it. So I think we should all stand up, give a round of applause to Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger for the $1 million solar push.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dan, for the nice introduction. It's exactly the way I wrote it. Thank you. I was given a speech here, but I think that I'm just gonna forget this speech because a lot of the facts were already mentioned. So let me just speak at the top of my head here. First of all, I want to just say thank you very much for the school to invite us here and to give such a wonderful demonstration of various different things. I mean, you have here a really great career tech education. And you know, I saw the display of electric cars, of solar panels that have been built here, and of robots. I mean, it was a huge display and activities of robots. I don't know, is this because I played a robot? Or I don't know what the reason was of all these robots all of a sudden, but I mean, it was very, very impressive, I have to tell you. And it was just wonderful education that you get in this school. And of course, you are a perfect example of how to have, you know, the solar panels up there and create great savings and create a clean environment. I mean, this is what it's all about. And so I want to congratulate you for the great work that you're doing and for having us here. I also wanted to say I'm very happy to be in Clovis and to celebrate California's successful Million Solar Roof Initiative. It is really great to be here to celebrate it at the school and in the Central Valley. I always, when I was governor, I always called the Central Valley the abs of California. The abs of California. Because the abs are very important. It's the center of the body. And it's very, very important. So I always call it the abs. And that's why we had a lot of events over here in the Central Valley when I was governor. I want to tell you that we are celebrating here huge success. But success, as you know, is not something that you do by yourself. It doesn't happen by itself. And there's a lot of people that have worked, and you've met some of those people. And I just want to mention it again. Dan and Bernadette, thank you so much for the great energy and for your great, great passion. I also want to say thank you to my old team that I had when I was governor. If it was Terry Tamminen, who is sitting back here, Terry, stand up. I didn't know much when I ran for governor about the environment. I have to be very honest with you. My heart was there, and I wanted to create a clean environment, but I didn't really know the details and how to go about it. So that's why I hired Terry Tamminen. And Terry Tamminen became kind of my guru, my environmental guru. This man knows every single information that you can think of what's going on in the environment in California, on the local level, on the state level, in America, on the national level, and the international level. He knows everything. It's unbelievable the amount of knowledge he has. So I learned so much from him. And I tell you that I would not have signed a lot of this legislation if it would have been for him. So thank you very much, Terry, for being such a great person. And then there's Susan Kennedy. Susan Kennedy was my chief of staff. And she was like a dream chief of staff. I mean, she really executed the things, my vision. And she really knew, and was very, very experienced in Sacramento, and knew the inner workings of the system to get things done. And she was also very good in crossing over the aisle and bringing Democrats and Republicans together So I just want to say thank you very much, Susan. Stand up, please. And then, of course, Kevin Murray. I mean, Senator, you were unbelievable to work with on this bill. I mean, without you, we wouldn't be here today. And it was one of those things that it started out, no matter what anyone says today, about how easy it was and how people threw around the million solar roof idea. But I tell you, first they came with the idea of 100,000. You know how politicians are. They want the big little goals because they're doable. But I always tell them, I said, doable goals don't make history. Doable goals are good for when you go in a campaign speech out there so you can declare victory very quickly, but they're not really having that much impact. So I said, let's think big. And then we started working together. So this is a Republican and a Democrat working together. And there was, of course, I had a smoking tent in the middle of the Capitol where we smoked cigars. And it happened to be that Kevin is a lover of cigars. So of course we had all of our meetings outside in the tent and smoked cigars and were talking for hours. And that's how we solved all of our problems and got the bill done. So let's give a big, big hand to Kevin Murray. I just want to tell you something, that there is something much bigger to take away from here. And that is, it's not just the victory of the million solar roofs. Let's think about what makes California special. California is special because we have consistency. I mean, look at the environmental progress that we've made. It started out with then Governor Ronald Reagan, who created the Air Resources Board. And then Jerry Brown came in, and he was the first one to tell us we got to go in the direction of solar and wind, and geothermal, and all of those things. And he really educated the California people, even though they called him Governor Moonbeam. But they didn't care. He had a clear vision, and he really started building this future. So it was unbelievable the kind of work that he already did in the 70s and 80s. And then California continued on in that direction. Governor after governor, all the way through my administration, and then again Jerry Brown was elected again, and then he continued on with the million solar roofs, and then now Newsom continues on with the program. So we have consistency, and what that does is it gives everyone confidence. The investors that invest in California, it gives them confidence. That's why we have venture capital. More than 50% of venture capital from the United States comes to California. That's what creates the jobs. So that is a very important thing, that California, unlike the federal government, at one time they're in, then they're out of the environmental thing, then they're back in again. Depends who is president, or who is really controlling the House or the Senate. It changes course all the time. In California, we never change course. We are moving forward. There are no whiplashes that we all of a sudden stop and they go the other direction. It doesn't exist in California. So that's a very important point to think about. And the other thing that we have to think about is that we are thinking big. We think big. We always pick big goals here in California, and we go after it until it is done. Here's an interesting thing. Politicians usually pass goals, as I said earlier, a little because they want to get it done and brag about it when the real election comes up. No, but in this case, everyone that is sitting here and everyone that was involved knew they would not celebrate this victory, the million solar roofs, becoming a reality while they're in office. So to vote for something that you would never see really in your office, the victory, that's a very tough thing to do for some politicians, but not for those guys here. I mean, Kevin Murray knew that when he wrote this bill, that he was retiring that year. So he was not looking for victory while he's in office. Even Jerry Brown, when he was governor and he pushed a million solar roofs, he knew that we would celebrate this when he's out of office. And I sure knew that I would celebrate this when I'm out of office, so we didn't care. We just did it anyway.